Hey, guys. Thank you for stopping through for another episode of the Unmuted Intelligence Podcast with your host, Altavius Pelzer. So I know you saw the title, and the title kind of, it looks a little strange, but hear me out. What do I look like? Now, hear me out, because I am a Philly girl through and through, born and raised. And so when someone would say, what do I look like? It would mean, do you think I'm stupid? What do I look like? Do I look like Boo Boo the Fool? Trust me, that's the whole statement that would be said. And to this day, I don't know what Boo Boo the Fool actually looks like. But that is a statement that would be said because you wanted to assert that you can understand, grab a hold of more than what the person was trying to get by you. But I want you to take that to a different level in this episode, because I want you to hear and think about it from this perspective. We've lost sight of what a human looks like. Now, this comes on the brinks of what we're going through around the world. In many different parts of the world, there are different things happening all at one time. We're still in the pandemic. We currently have the situation happening in the Ukraine. We still have people that are posting racist posts on social media. But what do I look like? Who do you think I am? No. What do I look like to you? And I think we've lost the sight of the clear definition of what a human being is. And a human being is not perfect. A human being is supposed to be compassionate. A human being is supposed to love. A human being is creative. A human being is someone that has feelings. And we've lost sight of that. And I think part of that, this is the psychology piece of it. Part of that is because we've lost sight of who we are as a human being. I mean, let's be honest. We're living in a day and age where we're trying to fit that size, have that makeup look, try to fit that outfit, sound like this person, be like that person. And in all of this, we lose sight of who we are. Now, this goes back to those who get into relationships and they attempt to be somebody that they're not in order to fit in order to gain the attention of someone else. And we lose sight of who we are. But in losing sight of who we are, we also lose sight of what a human being looks like. That's kind of deep, right, when you think about it? Because it's taking responsibility for how we treat people, talk to people, see people, how we hear people and understand people. We take responsibility for it. We don't say it's because I grew up in this environment. It's because I watched this on TV. It's because I didn't have this. At some point, we have to be mature enough to take ownership of the moment we're in. It's interesting because I was looking at the post that the Estée Lauder exec posted, the Sesame Street post, and I in my mind, I could not see how that was okay to post it. And then on the other side of it, it made me think, I don't really trust your apology because you posted it without any thought to what could potentially happen. You posted it without thinking about human beings, how they would react, how they would see it. And at that point, you did not look at human beings as human beings. Now, I don't know if you did it to, gain attention. I don't know if this was some ploy with Estée Lauder to kind of, we know companies have done all types of things in this day and age. But think about it. We lose sight of what a human being looks like because of our own personal experiences, because of our own personal bias. Now, guys, Unmuted Intelligence is always going to be a podcast where I make you dig a little deeper. And as uncomfortable as that may make you feel, it's necessary if we're looking for anything to change. Change around the world, change in our hearts, change in our neighborhoods. Like, we have to take ownership. One of my favorite books is Extreme Ownership. That book completely changed my whole mindset about what it meant to take ownership of something. And in a customer service industry, which I was in customer service, I was working in retail and retail management for 15 plus years. There's a sense of ownership that they want you to have when you're working in any retail job. The customer that you're working with, they want you to take ownership of. The project that you're working on, they want you to take ownership of. The store that you're working in, they want you to take ownership of it. They want you to feel this sense of ownership because they want you to respect it. Ooh, come on now. They want you to respect it as if it is your own. And so before we say a comment, before we make the post, before we do any of those things, are we looking at it as if we're speaking to ourselves? Are we looking at it as if we're speaking to our own child, your spouse, your mother, your siblings, that best cousin that you always link up with every time y'all go to the family reunion? But if you were saying it to them, would you still say it? And granted, we know that there's many people that will send stuff behind the scenes. We send stuff to family all the time. But if somebody else were sending something that could remotely be offensive, you would be quick to jump to their defense. Now, here's the flip side of that. Gen Z is a different generation. And so one of the ways that they're able to cope with the things that are going on now in the world, the things that they've gone through in their childhood and in their family and in communities, is they use some of the things that have happened to them as a way of coping with it. They use it as jokes. They use it as in conversations. They use it they use it to be able to go and kind of create a more comfortable conversation around it sometimes. But that doesn't mean that it doesn't hurt. That doesn't mean that it's not something that will have a negative impact. And so we stop looking at people as people. I'll give another example. I just recently, my brother was in the hospital. I was in the hospital with him from bright and early in the morning in the ER, and with him the majority of the day. Now, we're in the ER. In the ER, only one person can go back because we're still dealing with COVID. People, they come in, everybody got on masks, and you got to have your mask on and all of that good stuff, right? I sat there the whole day. They finally said that they were going to keep him. And they said they were going to keep him. Then we sat for another couple hours as they prepared whatever room they needed to prepare and do whatever, next steps. And then it wasn't until they came to take him to his room, and she asked me if I was going with him. And I said yes. And she said, oh, okay. She said, well, did they ask you if you have been vaccinated. No. Now, y'all, I had sat in, I was in this ER almost like a full-time shift, okay? Almost that many hours, almost 8 hours, bro. Like, we was in there for a minute. We ain't get close to the 8 hours yet, but we was in there. And I'm like, no, nobody said anything. And she said, well, you're only allowed one person upstairs. They told me, now mind you, they came in and told me that they're only allowed to have one person upstairs and that person can only be there from 12 to 7. Great. But if you know that I've sat here with him the whole time, I only left one moment, and that was because somebody else wanted to come back and sit with him for a short, or come back and see him. And then as soon as they left, I came back. In that time period, you couldn't come and say you need to have a negative COVID test or be vaccinated or be fully vaccinated. Nobody could say that. Mind you, in that time period, y'all tested him, gave him a COVID test while we were there. I could have taken a test. I could have gone somewhere and taken a test and gotten the results and been back. And the whole time we were there, nobody said anything. And it's crazy because we're in a time where people mentally and emotionally are going through a lot. And we don't necessarily think about that all the time because we're go, go, go. And we think about who we may be as the person. And I had a moment, I had to go ahead and I had to leave. And I made sure he had all his things. And as I was walking past the nurse's station, one of the nurses looked and she said, wait, she's not allowed to go upstairs with him? This is why I'm telling this story. It's because she saw me as me. She knew that I had been sitting with him all day. She wasn't even one of our nurses that was in and out our room. But she knew that I had been sitting there with him all day. Yeah. And out of all of the people in that section, she was the only one that said something. It's kind of crazy, right? But we turn off the thing of looking at people as people sometimes for the job. Because we know we have a certain protocol. We know we have certain things that we got to get checked off on this paper. We know that there's certain things that in our culture we have to do. There's certain things that in our household we have to, and so we checking off boxes instead of checking off the real boxes in real time. What do I look like? It was interesting because when she said it, she said she can't go up with her son because she thought that was my son, which I don't know if I should take that the wrong way. Sidebar. Even though my brother does not look old at all, he looks like a teenager actually. And so he don't look old at all. He got some height on me, but he doesn't look old at all. And so you just look and go. But she was like, she can't go up with her son? Wow. If more people, before they acted or when they saw something, they reacted, they interacted, come on, with a sense of compassion, seeing people as people, what a difference the world would be. But it starts with us individually. So I don't even know her name. I wish I did because that was powerful. Like I would shout her out on this episode. But individually, when you look at people, and this is one of the reasons why I stopped having a love and desire to be in retail, was because people in retail, as retail has progressed and gotten faster, easier, it's also lost the sense of people being people and building relationships. And so they want you to get the task done. They want you to say certain words and count numbers of people coming in, and you should be converting this amount of people, but they don't want you to see people as people. And one of the reasons why I was so great at retail is because I saw people as people. I would have real conversations with people. People would come and tell me their whole life story. They would come back looking for me. They would come back and spend money with me specifically. Like if I was not there at that location, and I've worked in a couple different, jobs when it comes to retail. If I wasn't there, they would wait until they saw me and would come back. And that speaks volumes about the fact that I would see people as people. I'm not going to try to sell you something that you don't need. I get it. We try and boost our numbers. That's cute. But I also saw that there were a lot of people that had shopping addictions that would come in. Man, there's so many things that you see in retail behind the scenes that are not discussed. It's kind of crazy that it's still not being discussed, because retail at its core is really dangerous, because the way it has progressed, it inspires people to be shopaholics. It inspires people to think that retail therapy is a good thing. And in most instances, it is not. Because a lot of the people that go through and have retail therapy, the majority of them are at the poverty line, below the poverty line, just barely above the poverty line. So there's so many different things. That's a whole other topic for a whole other show. But I just needed to come to you and have that discussion, because a muted intelligence community, becoming unmuted is not just talking. It's not just being able to say something specifically. Becoming unmuted is being able to see different, think different, hear differently, and understand not just people, but understand ourselves. So ask yourself that question as you're looking at your own actions this week and reactions or interactions. Am I looking at humans as humans? Or have I just added a number to them? Are they just somebody that's bringing me this amount of money? Are they just this? Are they just that? And really see humans as humans. What do I look like? This is Altaviz Pelzer, host of the Unmuted Intelligence Podcast. Guys, I always love being able to come and bring you insight, information that is going to allow you to become unmuted in life and in business. Until next time, don't forget to press it out. Be sure to leave a review, share this out, and come back so that way you can hear next week's episode.